Magnolia ISD has a clear vision and mission to be the best school district in the state of Texas.
It's been a tense day for many parents after this video surfaced showing a student explaining what's being investigated as a plot to shoot up Magnolia West High School. Now, we first reported this story as breaking news last night at 10 o'clock, and since then, we have learned the 19-year-old man arrested is involved with the school's ROTC program. Jake Reiner is joining us live in Magnolia. Jake, let's begin, if you will, with this. Some parents are upset because they weren't told about this right away, correct?
Following tonight, a Magnolia ISD school bus driver accused of inappropriately touching a 6-year-old girl. Now to a disturbing case out of Montgomery County. A man accused of indecency with a child touching a 6-year-old girl inappropriately. Magnolia ISD confirming tonight that he is a bus driver for the school district.
This is the man police arrested and charged with indecency of a child. Montgomery County Sheriff deputies say on Thursday he was watching dogs while the owners were away. A 6-year-old neighbor came over to feed the animals. Deputies say the girl was sexually touched and later told her parents. Deputies also say he's involved with his church, but don't know the extent.
Well, tomorrow is the first day of school for students in Magnolia ISD, but some parents think the district hasn't done its homework when it comes to setting up school bus routes. Fox 26's John Donnelly explains. And good evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan Martin. Would you want your child to walk 2 or more miles to school with no sidewalks and sex offenders along the path? Well, more than 200 angry parents giving the Magnolia ISD school board an earful tonight. Fox 26, in fact, was the only station at the meeting. Our Randy Wallace live tonight in Montgomery County with their concerns. Randy. All right, well, hundreds of students are being dropped off and picked up at the same spot in Magnolia, and it's got some parents so angry they're now vowing to vote out the school board. It's been an issue that we've been covering since last week. Fox 26's Randy Wallace on the story again tonight, live from Magnolia. Randy. Well, we got a close-up look today at the new bus stops in Magnolia that have a lot of parents accusing the school board of putting their children in harm's way. Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us live again tonight from Magnolia with the latest on this. Randy.
Jonathan, some Magnolia ISD students are walking a mile, even 2 miles, just to get to the bus stop. It's dark, there's no sidewalks, and parents say several sex offenders live in the area. Parents are vowing that they will vote school board members out if they keep these new bus routes.
This crime unfolded in the very place a child should be protected, on a school bus. Tonight, the little girl's mother, an Eyewitness News exclusive, breaks her silence, saying this district owes this community an explanation.
Talk to their kids, make sure nothing's happened to their babies.
This mother still wants answers from the Magnolia Independent School District as a sexual predator heads to prison.
It's been really hard. It's been a battle.
Matthew Curry pled guilty to assaulting her 4-year-old daughter and recording the act while employed as a bus monitor.
I didn't understand how it could happen on a school bus, of all places. Over the course of 2 months it happened. So there were several occasions where it was happening on that school bus.
These messages were racially charged. They were extremely offensive and certainly nothing to repeat. They were so shocking to one parent that I spoke to today that she actually kept her daughter home from school and tells me she doesn't plan to send her back until the situation has been addressed.
It says, "Greetings from Magnolia School District. We hate the N-word, and black students, if they come to school, they will be expelled." And it also said blacks and Jews.
Meantime, this Magnolia ISD will operate as normal today after the district's communication system got hacked.
Yeah, students and parents received inappropriate and racist threats. KPRC's Vincent Crivelli is live at Magnolia High School now. Vincent, what can you tell us about, does the school district know who sent these?
Well, Amy, right now they do not, but I can tell you that parents and students are disgusted. These hate-filled messages were sent out via Twitter, text messages, emails, and phone calls. An appalling situation on top of a privacy violation.
So much developing this afternoon, a local school district's communication system blasting out offensive material to parents and students. KPRC2's Vincent Crivelli reports on the district's response to this technology breach.
Good afternoon. Those messages were shocking and repulsive. Now parents are demanding that the district beef up security for their communication system. And another major concern for parents, what else was compromised during this hack? I reached out to the district for answers. However, they did not get back to me. Instead, they kicked me off district headquarters property. Reporting in Magnolia, Vincent Crivelli, KPRC 2 News.
Several school districts across the Houston area are deciding whether or not students will keep wearing those face masks on campus.
State education leaders left that decision in the hands of school boards. These are the first decisions being made locally as the statewide coronavirus restrictions come to an end. Tonight, 3 districts, Magnolia, Friendswood, and Tarkington, are considering whether the masks stay on or whether it's time to opt out.
Our Jacob Rascone is live in Magnolia tonight as board members are hearing both sides of this mask debate. Jacob, has the board made a decision?
Yeah, Chris, after a 3-hour meeting, at the very end of that meeting, they did vote, and they voted, in fact, to remove the mask mandate beginning on April 1st.
And this news just in, Magnolia ISD has just voted to do away with its mask mandate for students and staff. Let's get right to Grace White at the board meeting with the very latest and the reason they decided to do this. Grace?
Here's what one mom told us tonight before she addressed the board.
My thing with it is the psychological effect it's going to have on them, and also for all of us. You know, it just doesn't make sense to cover our faces and not be able to breathe. We have the authority to say, hey, we don't feel good, we feel hot, we feel like we can't breathe. Little kids going to school don't have that authority.
Before the board voted, they shared the results of a teacher survey saying 52% of teachers want the masks removed, 48% wanted them to stay. So it was very close. But the board also noted the survey asked teachers if they had the chance to get vaccinated, if they would feel differently. In that case, 70% of teachers said they would be in favor of removing the masks. We also spoke tonight to the Texas American Federation of Teachers. They told us they're very concerned about this decision, and they believe masks are the reason that cases have been so low in schools across our area. Len, back to you.
Breaking details right now. They just voted on the TEA mask mandate. So effective April 1st, no more masks for students and staff here at Magnolia ISD. Now, 2 things to keep in mind here tonight. One, of course, the mask mandate, which we now know passed. No more masks for students and, of course, the staff as well. But also the other issue here, and we told you about this earlier today, is the hacking incident that happened last night. Parents and students receiving racist text messages and a lot more calling out the Black, Jewish, and LGBTQ community.
Here's a question. Should a school dress code be the same for boys as it is for girls? If girls can have long hair, should boys have the same opportunity? Some families are giving one local school district an earful after several boys got into trouble for having long hair on campus. Devin Clark is joining us in studio tonight with a look at why some parents and students claim that the district policy amounts to dress code discrimination. Devin?
Dominique, at Magnolia ISD, all students have the right to choose whether to wear a mask, but some do not have the right to choose how long their hair is. It's a policy many who we spoke to at a recent school board meeting say is antiquated and homophobic.
Magnolia ISD issued a statement that in part reads, quote, Magnolia ISD has used a dress code that sets different standards for boys and girls for many years. For example, hair length for boys must be no longer than the bottom of the collar. This has been approved by the Texas courts and continues to be used by roughly half the districts in the state of Texas. Magnolia ISD's approach to the dress code reflects the values of our community at large. But folks sounding off say the policy is just the opposite of their values.
I mean, it feels dehumanizing to have a school, a government entity force me to cut my hair and meet their expectations of appearances.
Before cutting his hair, Daniel Hoosier was one of several boys placed in school suspension as a punishment.
How long should boys be allowed to wear their hair? It is a hot topic up in Magnolia ISD today after a lawsuit was filed on behalf of 7 students.
One of whom is non-binary and doesn't identify as boy or girl. Jason Miles is in Magnolia with both sides of the story.
Under Magnolia ISD's current dress code, boys are not allowed to wear their hair longer than about right here. There are no specific rules regarding gender-neutral students.
here in Magnolia County who identifies themselves as non-binary, and the 11-year-old student told me that they just don't feel as comfortable going to school anymore. Their parent, one of 7 listed in this lawsuit, they're being represented by the ACLU. They say that this this dress code that deals with grooming a child's hair who is a male is unfair and just outright discriminatory.
So let me ask you, what did the principal say to you when you said Tristan identifies as non-binary, despite the fact that the school was insisting to identify Tristan as a male?
She didn't know what it was, and I understand that. So I tried to explain it, and I tried to reach out to her with compassion and love and try and turn it onto her. I said, what if you had a child that was non-binary? What would be the decision that you would make? And she said, I would cut his hair, and hung up on me. And I just realized that the school is not inclusive. The school is not educated in LGBTQ community. And we were just going to have to educate and hopefully find a good outlet for this.
A Houston judge issuing a temporary restraining order blocking the enforcement of a controversial hair length policy at Magnolia ISD. We first told you about this story on Eyewitness News at 10 last week. 11-year-old Tristan Miller was among the plaintiffs who sued the district, saying the policy requiring male students to have hair no longer than a shirt collar is discriminatory. Tristan identifies as non-binary, but their mother says the hair is part of Tristan's identity.
The judge saw right through Magnolia ISD. And as a mother fighting for their child to exist, it was absolutely beautiful.
A school dress code debate back in the headlines tonight.
The controversy over hair length in Magnolia ISD made national news. Now one side of the battle is celebrating a victory.
The side claiming victory included 6 boys and a non-binary student who were not allowed to wear their hair long at school.
But now one Magnolia ISD says it has updated its dress and grooming code. KPRC2's Andy Sirota is live in Magnolia tonight. And Andy, this is a result of months of debate and legal action.
Months, Christine. Danielle Miller says it has been a constant battle, fighting for the past 5 months for change. Now that the district has updated its policy, Miller says she is relieved, but also angry.
Right now at 6, a parent alert, inappropriate material being sent right to children's phones.
Yeah, not a text message, not an email. We are talking about airdrops just showing up on kids' screens without any warning at all. Parents in Magnolia ISD say it happened to their children on a school bus.
Not just once, every day for weeks now. It's a story you'll see only on 2 tonight. KPRC2's Devin Clark is live in Magnolia with that alert for parents. Devin?
Christine, Daniela, nowadays pretty much everyone, even middle schoolers, have cell phones. But tonight there is uproar after parents say that a school bus filled with children got sent some inappropriate content that most adults wouldn't even find safe for work.
Former Magnolia ISD custodian is in jail accused of raping and sexually abusing 3 children for nearly a decade.
And with age and discrimination claims in Magnolia ISD. Thank you for joining us on KPRC2 and KPRC2 Plus, the live stream. I'm Keith Garvin.
And I'm Lauren Freeman. Tonight, former teachers at Magnolia High School say the school district is not doing enough to address their concerns. It's a story you'll see only on 2. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is joining us live from Magnolia with more on these accusations. Bryce?
Lauren, tonight 3 different teachers who used to work here at Magnolia High School say the workplace became so toxic that they became physically ill. And 2 of them say the district is not doing enough to handle their age and discrimination complaints. This would have been Emily Winslow's 10th year as a teacher, her 4th at Magnolia High School. But days into the school year,
I had a panic attack at work, and that was just kind of it for me.
The stress mounting over claims the school's principal created a hostile work environment for herself and others.
I couldn't keep sacrificing myself because they wanted to keep a man in power abusing his power and his position of power. I was scared of the man I was working with.
Winslow sharing her concerns with the Magnolia ISD board last week after reporting them to the district's Human Resources Department. department.
It was completely mishandled. I was told it was my job to work with my abuser. When I walked in to clear the air, I was told to sit down. I was told it wasn't going to end well for me.
She says the district tried to find reasons to fire her before she resigned. A third former teacher who asked us not to identify her claims the administrator told her to make up grades, a concept that made her consider leaving, telling KPRC2 in a statement, quote, "He grabbed my face in both hands and got close to me. I was having panic attacks regularly and became physically ill due to stress. It was too stressful of an environment for me to stay in." She eventually left. Last year, the ACLU sued Magnolia ISD for a gender discriminatory hair policy that required boys to have short hair, which a federal court found likely violated the Constitution. The teachers speaking out hope it will spark change. We did reach out to the school district, which tonight is not commenting on personnel matters. We also reached out to the school board president, vice president, and this school's principal, all of whom have not gotten back to us tonight.
A Magnolia ISD teacher is accused of having an improper relationship with a student. The Montgomery County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force says Grant Tozier has been charged with 2 counts of possession of child pornography and an improper relationship between educator and student. All of these charges are felonies, and we are still waiting on a statement from the school district.
Tonight, a Magnolia Intermediate student is facing some serious charges after they allegedly threatened to shoot 2 other students at school tomorrow. Tonight, a former Magnolia ISD teacher is locked up after allegedly making threats against the school. According to the Montgomery County Precinct 5 Constable's Office, 24-year-old Eric Taylor, who used to teach at Magnolia West High School, is accused of posting several threats on social media on Saturday. The posts reportedly included threats to burn down the school if his demands weren't met. Investigators questioned Taylor at his home and arrested him on charges of making terroristic threats.
A now former teacher's aide at Bear Branch Junior High in Magnolia ISD is facing charges of indecency with a child through sexual contact. 46-year-old Sheila Valdivieso was arrested Saturday at her home in the Woodlands. The Montgomery County Precinct 5 Constable's Office says she's accused of sexually assaulting a teenage student. Valdivieso is being held on a $50,000 bond. Magnolia ISD says she has been fired, and they are notifying students' parents. Officers are asking that if anyone has any information to contact police.
A Houston area school district is now one of the first to approve a daily prayer under a new state law.
Magnolia ISD trustees voting unanimously to make it all happen. KPRC2 News reporter Ricky Munoz is live in Magnolia this morning. And Ricky, can you tell us what exactly happened in that meeting?
This afternoon, we're taking a closer look at Senate Bill 11 as a deadline is looming for school districts to decide if they are going to allow a prayer period at school.
Now, according to our news partners at the Houston Chronicle, so far over a dozen school districts in the greater Houston area have actually voted against adopting the policy. Our Brianna Willis joining us live from Magnolia ISD this afternoon. Brianna, that's the only school district so far in our area to actually adopt said prayer period.
Yeah, that's correct, Jonathan. And Magnolia ISD says that their decision reflects the core values and traditions of this community. But it's important to note that parents would have to consent to this. Now, today I did speak with an expert. He says the real question comes down to how districts plan to implement this prayer period.
At 4:30, a former Magnolia ISD teacher is now in custody and charged with improper relationship between an educator and student.
And we've learned through court documents he worked at Magnolia Parkway Elementary School. Before he resigned, the district placed him on leave back in December. Brianna Willis joining us live after speaking with parents who have children in the suspect's class. Brianna.
Yeah, Jonathan and Erica, and understandably, those parents tell me they are just frustrated right now. They say they're frustrated not only because of these allegations and court documents reveal he allegedly had students sit on his lap and even touch them inappropriately, but those parents tell me they are also angry because they say the district only notified them just yesterday, one day before summer break.
Also tonight, a former Magnolia Elementary School teacher is facing one charge of having an inappropriate relationship with a student.
But parents are telling ABC 13 he should have been removed from the classroom a long time ago because they had been making complaints for years. We spoke with one couple whose daughter was in his class.
Now at 4:30, we're hearing from parents at Magnolia ISD after a former elementary school teacher was charged for having an inappropriate relationship with students.
We first told you about Jason Maldonado back in May when he was arrested and charged in Montgomery County. Our Brianna Willis joining us now with why they say he should have been stopped years ago. Brianna.
Yeah, that's correct, ladies. And right now, Maldonado is only charged with one count, but in court records, investigators say they believe there was inappropriate behavior with multiple students. After our initial story aired, parents reached out to me because they say they believe their children were victims of Maldonado before this most recent school year. They told me they've reported him to school staff for years and nothing was done until now, and they want the district held accountable.
It's heartbreaking. I had all the conversations, I thought, with her. I had talked to her about what was appropriate, what wasn't appropriate, but I wasn't counting on him doing something extra that I didn't know about, right?
It's something Taylor and Ryan Craig say they never thought their daughter would have to experience. They told me their child was one of many who were touched and made to feel uncomfortable by former Magnolia ISD teacher Jason Thomas Maldonado.
He gave candy for hugs, routinely. I saw him do it to our daughter once.
In May, Maldonado was arrested and charged with improper relationship between an educator and student. Court documents revealing at the time, students said he would have them sit on his lap and touch students underneath their clothing.
She started having migraines that year, and so he told her to get underneath his desk to rest. And at that point, I said, no more. We're not doing this. This isn't okay. And I went to the school.
Craig says she went to school administrators back in 2024, and attorneys involved say she wasn't the first one. They gave us this email correspondence between a different parent and staff at the school. It shows staff write, November 17th, 2023 is the day we spoke with you as well as your child was talked to and it was addressed. In a response to the Craig family's formal complaint, the district acknowledged Craig met with the school principal at the time on October 30th, 2024, and she reported that Mr. Maldonado really likes hugs, only hugged female students, had a mat under his desk for students to use, and he allowed her to use his jacket. The district goes on to say they do not dispute this report, but there is nothing inherently sexual about those allegations. Attorneys representing at least 4 of the families say otherwise and say something should have been done before Maldonado was placed on leave in December 2025.
We know that it started as early as 2022. The inappropriate conduct, the inappropriate touching, the inappropriate just general attitude by this teacher.
Which your clients reported?
They did.
How did they do that?
They reported it to the school.
We're talking about dozens of parents. No one's shocked. No one's surprised. So how can the administration look our parents and look this community in the face and say, well, you know what, we don't think you actually made these complaints. And in fact, you know what, we don't even have record of your complaints.
We reached out to Magnolia ISD about the claims the district knew about Maldonado's behavior before December 2025. They wouldn't answer our questions, saying they can't share personnel matters. All the families we spoke with involved, some who did not want to be identified due to privacy reasons, say for them, this case is not about winning or losing. They say it's about change and others outside of Maldonado being held responsible.
They expect our children to be accountable for their actions, and we expect them to be accountable for their actions and their lack of action. These people are mandatory reporters, and they failed.
Yeah, and the parents we spoke with believe there could be even more victims and are still asking for people to come forward. I have reached out to Maldonado's attorneys. They told me they're aware of the allegations and plan to vigorously defend him during this process. Ladies.
Hard to listen to those parents saying they're in. Yeah, thanks, Brianna.